Texas Prison Story Family Salute, man. It's your boy Tim Snow, back here with another one. And this is getting harder and harder to believe, but you know what they say, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. And that's all I'm going to say about it, right? When I did that last video about the handwritten letter, the letter from the wife and all that, a lot of people came in my comments and said I was dead wrong. He had already explained the situation, that it was telling on a police officer. It wasn't on co-defendants. It wasn't on another criminal or anything like that. He said it himself. And I have a clip here of the video. We're going to do some fair use here, which is totally illegal. You can't strike the channel or anything like that. So we're going to do a fair use style, which means I do have to stop it and break it down and comment on it, even though it's a short video. I want to make sure, because I want this one to stay up. And you just judge for yourself. All right. Another thing they were saying is, Snow, this is personal, huh? Because he wouldn't let you on his channel. Well, you know what? I didn't like that. But that ain't why I'm doing this. Not only did I share his videos out, help him get started, get thousands of followers, also let him on my channel. We did a video together. I just had a random live, dropped the link and he popped up. I let him do it. And then he told me no. So it's a little bit more than that too, right? Yeah, hell yeah, I felt played for sure. I definitely did. But the main reason is this. Look, in any penitentiary setting, any type of gang activity, anything like that, when you bring somebody into the game, you vouch for them when they first get to the yard, anything like that, later on, if they do something crazy, that falls back on you. You better believe from the bottom of my heart, I would have never shared this man's stuff out. I never would have gave him a jump start. I never would have let him on my channel if I would have known he was doing this type of stuff. Never. Because the last thing in life is I want to get tied to this. Not even close. So is it my job to clean it up? Maybe, maybe not. I feel like it is. In the point blank period, I need to detach this man from my name once and for all. And I'll let all y'all decide how y'all feel about it.
Facing life plus 30 years. In my world, fuck him, he's a cop, right? But telling's telling, man. And that wasn't truthful.
So look, he told everybody that his attempted agreement with the cops to cooperate was on a police officer. The police officer was working with him, doing crime with him, and then double crossed him. And he just said telling is telling. Well, a lot of people in the comments didn't think that is telling, but I'm going to tell you why it is. I don't care if you're telling on a police officer, a preacher, or a serial killer. You're still cooperating with law enforcement. You're still sitting in their offices doing recordings, writing statements, telling them everything you know, right? Everything. You're basically joining the other team. You just went from criminal to police officer in the eyes of everybody in prison, everybody in the streets. Is it necessarily a bad thing to tell on a crooked cop? You have to judge that for yourself. But look at this from a penitentiary standpoint. It don't matter who you tell on. Telling is telling, because you just joined teams on the other one. And when you come into a facility where they're still doing crime, it's still violent, there's still drug trafficking and trading in there, everything else, you got to be trusted. That's why they're checking paperwork. That's why in Texas prisons they hard check you. That's why people run these psychological games on you, because they want to know who they're living with around for the next 40 years. And if you can't be trusted 100%, you got to go. And there's a reason why he wanted to keep all that hidden if it was a police officer, but it wasn't. But the simple fact is, it don't matter to them men who you're trying to tell on. It's a simple fact that you tried to cooperate, right? You were working with this cop. It was all good when he was helping you. And then when you find out things go wrong, now you want to tell on him. The inmates are going to look at you like, well, damn, just because one of your co-defendants owed you some money, you thought it was okay to tell on him? Your co-defendant banged your old lady, so now you told on him? It ain't even okay in the prison to tell on somebody that told on you first. I know these morals and this logic is backwards to people that's never been in prison. I get it. I understand. I'm not out here living a penitentiary life or trying to live in the past. We're looking at this through a penitentiary lens, because that's what me and him both do. Penitentiary prison content, right? So he knows everything that I'm saying is legit. Yes, telling is telling. It don't matter who you told on.
So first we'll do this, right? This is like the judge's another decision in the case. So you guys can kind of read that, right? You see that? Because Marks did not have a cooperation agreement with the government. In around May 2004, although as discussed below, Marks asserts he was unaware of this until after his trial. AUSA Rodriguez offered Thompson a plea bargain. We read a little bit about the 20-year plea, right? AUSA Rodriguez advised Attorney Thompson that Marks faced significant, this is when they're talking about, they want to talk about the cop, faced significant sentencing exposure if he did not plead guilty, and that the exposure would increase if Marks were convicted of 2 potential firearm charges that could be brought under 18 U.S.C. 924C. That means my mandatory minimum was 10. They're telling him, look, we'll get this kid 20 years. If he comes and talks about the cop, we're not going to charge him with 2 924Cs. The first one's 5, the second one's 25 on top of the 10. Now his mandatory minimum's 40. With all the enhancements, and we're going to go over my PSR, now you're facing life plus 30. Life plus 30.
Now listen, I get it, right? Life plus 30, man. That's a lot of time. That's to the day you die. You're never coming home. You're never going to kiss your mama again, never kiss a girl. That's a hard life. This is why I tell kids, this is not the life you want, man. If y'all out there in the streets, you're selling drugs, running guns, protecting your drugs with guns, all the things that the Fed are looking for, do not do it, because this is the situation you're going to be put in right here. You're either going to have to tell on people and be looked at like the scum of earth inside these facilities and by other people outside, lose all credibility with anybody that's against that. And all of us were taught as children not to be tattletales. So the majority of people are going to say you were wrong for that. You were selfish, you were narcissist, you were saving yourself at the expense of others. But life plus 30 will shake people to their core. And I understand that, right? I totally get it. But that ain't even what this video is about tonight. Did you just hear what he said again? They want to talk to him about the cop. This video is about y'all be careful who y'all follow out here. Be careful who you're sending your donations to, who you're buying merchandise from and all that, because he's lying right here. He's talking about a cop again. Let's get to it.
According to Marks, he was unaware of the government's 20-year plea offer and therefore did not enter a guilty plea. In September 2004, therefore, as AUSA Rodriguez has suggested would happen, the grand jury returned a superseding indictment against Marks, adding the 2 924C counts, possession of a specific firearm and furtherance of the 2 drug trafficking crimes alleged in the superseding indictment. Oh, let's make sure you see it. So, you know, I'm actually reading what it says.
So listen, what he's saying is he did not have a motion of cooperation in his file. He didn't. And he didn't, I guess. As far as I can tell, he didn't. But guess what? It was still in his file that he attempted to cooperate. That alone is enough to get you whacked inside of a federal penitentiary or any real serious place. That alone is enough to get you. But it had nothing to do with a police officer. Why he even did this video, I don't understand. But why people are looking at me like I'm lying, I'm sitting here making stuff up, man, I ain't got to do that. I don't got to do that. I'm already in a position where I need to be. He's bragging about all the money he makes and all these businesses he runs and everything. Well, he ain't the only one that is decent in life. I'm not rich at all. I don't make a lot of money. But guess what? I'm happy because I don't got to run from my past and I can look myself in the mirror. I'm a single father that's raising a child, right? I got one responsibility in life, and that's to take care of her. And I'm doing as best as I can. And so far, I'm doing a good job at it. I got one of the most happiest kids you've ever seen in your life. Even on some days when dad ain't happy. Right? But I'll never come on here and fake that everything is great because I got so much money and all this other shit. That don't mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. My daddy always said money don't make you happy. But let's look at something. This is what he was really had going on. In United States versus Mark, 890F supplemental 2D 248 in the Western District of New York, 2012. The judge is talking about plea negotiations and Mark's attempted cooperation. Remember, he said it was a police officer. The opinion says that when Mark's cooperation failed to pan out concerning the Xerox Federal Credit Union robbery, the prosecutor suggested a straight 20-year plea with no additional reduction for cooperation. That's when they came with the 20-year plea. That's what it was. Let's read that again. The opinion says that when Mark's cooperation failed to pan out concerning the Xerox Federal Credit Union robbery. The prosecutor suggested a straight 20-year plea with no additional reduction for cooperation. All right. I don't think there was never a time when there was a police officer. He knew telling is telling, but he also knew that the general public watches this, right? The general public watches this, and to them, that wasn't gonna be that bad because they didn't understand telling is telling when you're looking at this type of situation through these lenses. But here's the deal. Xerox Federal Credit Union robbery is a real crime. Real people robbed it. He really attempted to tell on them. And the other stuff that I read, you can look at all. I'm giving you enough right now. You can go search it. I ain't the type of YouTuber that's gonna spend my whole day researching stuff, right? But you can do it, and I know the viewers will. They didn't believe what he was telling them. They didn't believe what he was telling them. Or he wasn't telling them enough. He didn't know enough. Because to get that plea agreement, you got to damn near slam dunk somebody, give them irrefutable proof and all that. I don't know. I really don't know the whole situation. If somebody looks it up more, let us know. This more was all about basically credibility because people were attacking mine for what I said in the other letters, right? Now, we're not even going to talk about in the letter that his wife wrote detailing the prison stabbings and who was in the Texas AB, who was in the California AB as a prospect, who was the leader of the Texas AB, who was second in command. We're not going to talk about all that. We're not. And there's a bunch of other stuff that other people are getting ready to talk about. In this video, he goes on admitting that when he was young, he threatened a child's life and he was a bad man and all this other shit. Hey, man, 23 years ago, I still would have never threatened a kid's life. That goes beyond a bad person, bro. That's ridiculous, right? But somebody that'll threaten a kid's life, of course they'll cooperate. Of course they got no fucking morals, no anything like that. You know what I mean? I didn't even mean to cuss, but you know, it just shows a pattern, right? Are you changed man now? I don't know, because you just came on and lied to everybody. Maybe so, maybe not. That's up to y'all to decide. Six Prison Story family, salute.